So you've had a number of questions about why you don't have a project or a collection on Lockheed or microcomputers. So I think the generic question is, how do you go about deciding what collections or projects you want to run? And what I heard you say, listening this evening, is you're pretty reactive rather than proactive. You'll do a collection or a project if a researcher comes to you and wants to go in an area, or if somebody comes to you with their papers and presents them to you, but you really aren't deciding that Lockheed's a project you want to go do, and you'll go get some money and go do it. So could you give us a few words on how you really go about establishing what projects or what collections?
So
and,
Just
how
one
do you
thing,
get in that business?
one thing to add to that, as a clarification, is that there are a number of other projects, like a microcomputer project within the Stanford Library. So they have to make sure that they're not competing.
Sure, but like, how did you get in the e-note business? Did somebody come to you, or did you decide?
How did I get what?
How'd you get it? You said you have a collection in e-note. What? So,
Oh, Evernote, right.
Yeah, I mean, did somebody come to you, or did you decide that's an area you want to go in?
Yeah, a little of both in that case. There's basically three. If I gave you the idea that we're passive, that was incorrect. There are a lot of active initiatives. For example, I'll tell you, apropos Lockheed, I might come back with, nobody here has mentioned recording technology. There was this company called Ampex, right? We just went off into a completely different area just with that move. There's so much stuff. Well, Ampex is a personal interest, and we've pursued quite a bit there. What it boils down to is from my view, there's essentially three parts of what happens when you've been around and you've had a lot of time to develop collections. By the way, what I tell every young person who goes into this is, don't even take a job if you're not going to spend at least 10 years, because it really takes that long to make an imprint on the collections at an institution. So one third of it, let's say, is the researchers, what you know about, again, our mission is to serve research and instruction. We're at Stanford. A lot of it is informed by what's going on at Stanford in the history of science program, the business school, School of Engineering, things like that. So that's maybe one third of it. Another third of it is collection driven. I think that's the part where you might see some passivity. That might be that we have a lot of collections in this area. They may have predated me. We have Terman's papers. I didn't bring them in. They were here already. But boy, we have a good concentration there. I'm going to build that out because it's there already, and other collections might speak to that. Or it might be, I often answer the phone, as you've picked up on, because somebody's offering me a collection because they know we have, say, the Ampex collection or Apple collections. Of those 30 some odd Apple collections, I probably actively went after 5 to 10 of them. The rest were all, people heard you had stuff at Apple. And the other third is, frankly, my interests. I do write and teach myself, and I doubt we would have quite as extensive a collection in areas like software and computer games, virtual worlds, things like that, if somebody else was the curator at Stanford. So it's a mix of all of those, and they come into play, and that's why it takes so long to make a mark, because you're sort of figuring out very intuitively. I think you were saying earlier about this distinction between it being an art and a science, right?
Correct.
The art part of it is figuring out how all those
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, it's a balancing act.